Hello, Riley and Jazz. It's not a race. It's not a competition. Even though most of what I talk about is competition related. What's up, Tofi? Young Tofi. It is unless it's not. Fair enough. Is my hoodie too big for... It might be. I don't care. It's crack-a-lackin'. Shine. Shine is. I need to look more into Shine, actually, over the course of the next 5 minutes. I haven't looked at the Shine sign trailer or anything. The Rams hoodie, the St. Louis Rams hoodie. The Rams hoodie from long ago. I've had this hoodie since 7th grade. It's 2003? Yeah, 2003. This hoodie's about as old as Tofu. That's crazy. Has anyone signed up for Splatoon? No. I only want to see who all's attending Shine. Sign-up's even open. I don't see anything. Oh wait, no, register now. I just want to see who's signed up right now. Is there not a way to do that? You can see who signed up for Riptide. Why can't I see who signed up for... This is probably me just sucking at Smash GG. Maybe not. So Falco, you're older than my hoodie. Let's go. That midnight light thing is this week, ain't it? Is that the Swiss tournament? Yeah, Swiss in the top cut. Have fun with that. Filter, but oh, there's no attendees tab. No, again, this got announced less than 12 hours ago, so it's. I highly doubt anyone's had the time to sign up for Shine. But there is no attendees tab, whereas Riptide. Yeah. There is a very clear, distinct attendees tab at the Riptide, but the Shine one does not have one. So that indicates to me maybe no one signed up for it yet, just because it just got announced in the dead of night where nobody could sign up for it. So I think that's why the attendees tab doesn't show up. There's probably just nobody signed up just yet. But this is like extremely fresh, and I don't think people were expecting it, at least for the Splatoon side. Was this leaked in the Papa John's? Papa John's tweet? I can't find the Papa John's tweet anymore. Oh well. Hey Rose. Hapless. It's hidden. Like all good things in life, you gotta search for it, which is fine. Again, I don't think anybody, I was just curious to see if anyone had signed up for it on the Splatoon side just yet. But considering how fresh this event is, it doesn't totally matter right at this point. Who's the first to sign up for Riptide? Chara? Chara beat me to it. I think Chara and Falco beat me to it. I think I finished in 3rd place. Doggone it. Hey. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you're getting Twitter's opinion on what your starter pack should be, looking up flight costs to Cleveland, Ohio in September, or I guess Boston, aka not really Boston, in August. Beating the absolute daylights out of your opponent in grand finals of Melee at Genesis 8. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, I watched a lot of Melee over the last weekend. It was awesome. Genesis was awesome. Saturday night top 64 with all the upsets that were going on in the 2 streams they had on was awesome to see. I was just sitting here at the main stream on my good monitor, the side stream on my not so good monitor, but they were having quality matchups on both of those, and it was just awesome. Genesis is so cool to see. Genesis is really cool to see. The ending of Melee was extremely anticlimactic. You had Jay Mook, who I believe was seeded to finish 21st in that event, made it all the way to grand finals, swept IBDW, in losers finals and was just this wonderful Cinderella story, and then went into grand finals against Zayn and was struggling just to take a single stock away from the dude. It looked like the grand finals looked like a match they would just throw away and put it on during the Thursday stream or the Friday stream, where they're just, let's just put a match on. It's probably not going to be competitive. Let's do it. And it sucks. Like, as a commentator, you want your grand finals to be epic and awesome, and you want to, like the January Low Ink, you want to be able to say, lowest wins Low Ink in dramatic fashion. And instead, Genesis just into it like, oh, yeah, couldn't take a stock away, huh? Well, Zayn wins Genesis, and then Zayn just kind of pops off. It's just like, hey, I won. And the stage explodes with the smoke and everything. And it's like, cool. Yay. Mango versus Hungry Box was extremely anticlimactic as well. We talk about Low Ink teams running out of gas. How about playing in losers bracket for several hours, which Mango did, and then ultimately coming across Hungry Box at the end and just being like, nah, I can't. I'm just going to get destroyed right here because I have nothing left. Genesis was awesome. It's a preview of what's to come for Low Ink. It is a hoodie episode of the Popcast because it's freaking snowed earlier. There was snow on the ground when I woke up. It is we're going to be in Austin, Texas next week. I am excited for that. I hope there's no snow in Austin, Texas. I would assume so, but I'm fine to get out of the Midwest. This is stupid. This is so stupid. News of tournaments that may be of interest of the casual listener of the podcast, other than Riptide and Shine and Low Tide City, which we'll get to in a second. It's Low Ink Week, baby! It's Low Ink Week. That is awesome. Everybody loves Low Ink Week. Even if you're banned from it, everyone likes to watch it. Make sure you sign up for it. The preview is going to be Friday. I got a special thing I've been working on for this month's edition of the Low Ink Preview Popcast. I'm going to be explaining in detail what you need to do statistically to win Low Ink. I'm going to give you guys the secret formula to winning Low Ink, so make sure you come out Friday and see the preview for that. But make sure you sign up for Low Ink. You should do that. Why not? Why not sign up for Low Ink? What's the worst that could happen? You give up your entire weekend? I mean, what else are you going to do this weekend? It's probably snowing. You're not going anywhere. Stay inside. Cuddle up with a nice blanket and get beat by Kraken United in Low Ink. Fun times. The week after this Low Ink week is Low Tide City. I did a preview for Riptide last year. Not going to be doing that this time around for Low Tide City. I'm going to be doing something else instead. Not going to tell you what that is just yet, but there is something kind of cool in the works. So be on the lookout for that. Next week, we're just going to be recapping Low Ink, and then we'll talk about Low Tide City when it comes to it. Today, we're going to be talking about Squidboard's SQSS, the Squidboard Splat series that took place on Saturday, and recap some other events, as well as, for the first time ever, I will officially mention the Ultimate Splat Championship, USC. I've never talked about this event before. I believe this is the event number 29 that just took place. We're finally going to talk about it because I just kind of noticed it and looked into it and thought, hey, there's some cool stuff here. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. Also, F&F coming to an end, playoffs around the corner with that. We'll talk about all that stuff in the weekly recap. But first, it's very rare that I actually write an episode of the Popcast before like 2 a.m. Sunday night, aka Monday morning. It's extremely rare. Usually I just cram all this stuff in as I should be in bed, and then like write the whole vast majority of it when I wake up the next day, somewhere around 10:45 or 11:15 in some cases. Who knows? Usually, I'll admit, as professional as the Popcast might seem, 111 episodes in now, a good chunk of me believes I can just fart my way through this and be just fine. However, sometimes there is an actual opportunity to where something happens earlier in the week and I got some free time and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write it out. What's the harm in writing an episode a little bit ahead of time? Riptide got announced. Low IPL was a part of it. And I was like, aha. As I was at work one day during some downtime, wrote out this entire segment that you are about to see. Everything's perfect. Got it all lined up. And then, as I'm going to bed last night, thinking that this is just going to be a cakewalk episode. This episode's going to be free. No effort needed. I look at Twitter, and Shine got announced, and it is going to be hosting Splatoon. Huh. Now, a professional podcaster would then go back and edit this to include a lot of stuff about Shine into your land segment that you're going to be doing, right? But if you know anything about me, I am not a professional podcaster. And while I do care about all of this, there is... I still think I can just wing this. I can talk about everything I've already got written down and include Shine in without actually writing it in, but just throw it in off the top of my head and make it all smooth and perfect transition. Can I actually pull that off? We'll find out. So let's actually start the segment for real with that disclaimer out of the way. One of the worst kept secrets of the year is that Riptide was coming back. Not worse in the sense that Papa John's completely leaked everything, I guess, including Shine. I can't go back and look at that because I've lost that tweet. But Papa John's leaking everything isn't what I mean by this being the worst kept secret that Riptide was coming back. If you talk to anybody in the know, or if you just paid attention to how things have been going on in the world, you would assume, oh, Riptide's just going to be coming back anyways. Like, it doesn't take, you don't have to be an insider to get the sense that Riptide is probably just going to be coming back and probably is going to be a consistent thing now that Smash and Splash is dead and gone, and that was running pretty consistently, and Riptide is the spiritual successor to that. Oh, I just assumed Riptide's coming back, and it did. Papa John's got leaked, leaked it out, along with several other events. And then I guess it came to a point to where there's no sense in hiding it. Why not announce it? Now, my question is, if Papa John's didn't leak Riptide was going to be a thing, would Riptide get announced this past week like it did anyways? And I think the answer is yes. I think it was going to always be announced during Genesis just because why not? They announced several events during Genesis and they showed off the trailer for Riptide, but I don't think Papa John's like forced Riptide's hand to do an announcement. And again, I kind of mentioned a lot of TOs were pissed about that Papa John's tweet because their event got spoiled. They didn't get the excitement of, hey, everybody, our event is going on. Nope. You already knew it was going on and you already knew the date. That kind of sucks. But, hey, it's out. We all know about it. It got announced either way, so some thunder got stolen from some TOs. But nonetheless, we all know that it is going to happen. Low Tide City seems like it's already over at this point, right? Like, I mean, what we were excited about Low Tide City, or at least most people were, and then Riptide's here, and then Shine directly after that, and it's like, well, wait a minute, isn't there one of these events going on next week that, like, everybody's excited and signing up for these events, and it's like, what's going on with Low Tide City? That's still a thing, right? Yeah, and there's a couple of reasons why Low Tide City isn't getting the kind of initial or didn't get the kind of initial excitement that Riptide did, and well, now Shine, I guess, to some extent is getting at this point. The two issues with Low Tide City when it got announced, first off, the location. And now people are saying, oh, this event is near me, I'm going to go to it. That's cool and that's great. And, you know, for Shine in Boston or Worcester, not really Boston, I guess. I don't know. That's a great location for everybody on the East Coast and in the New England area in the Northeast of the United States. Austin, Texas is a great location for people in Texas. The problem with this though is if you want to just go to this event, like it's gonna cost you some money. I live in the Midwest, as I know several people in chat do as well. If you were to hop in a car somewhere in the Midwest and you were to just drive for 8 hours in any direction, you would expect to be like 3 or 4 states away from the state you started in. If you were to do that in the Midwest. If you were to hop in a car in Texas and drive for 8 hours, you very well might still be in Texas. That sucker is pretty massive. So yeah, if you live in the Texas area or the Austin area, yeah, of course you're going to go to Low Tide City. It's right there. Riptide is just like a 4 or 5 hour drive away for my wife and I. So of course we're always going to go to Riptide. It's so simple. But if you need to fly in, the flights costs are kind of ridiculous right now. It's definitely a bit of a hindrance. And then you got to Uber. There's no shuttle from the airport to the location, the Kalahari Resort in Austin, Texas. So transportation is always a little bit of an issue there. And of course, that's going to be an issue at any event. But with something like Riptide, where again, for most people in the Midwest, that's just a day's drive. You don't even have to fly in. And since so many people are driving to Riptide, if somebody flies in, you can just be like, oh, I'm just going to go to my airport and pick up my friend or my teammate and bring them over there instead of just having to get an Uber or get a shuttle, which Riptide did actually provide a shuttle service. So that's a little bit helpful. But the location of Austin, Texas, isn't really going to draw in the same number of people that a location outside of Cleveland, Ohio is going to draw in. It's just not. Location. Also, what kind of hurt Low Tide City is timing. When it got announced at the beginning of January, did it get announced on January 1st? I think it did. The problem with that is, at that time, the pandemic was at the worst point it had ever been in, ever, which is ridiculous considering that everyone had access to get fully vaccinated and their booster by that time. But the Omicron virus was so bad at that time where you're thinking, should I really sign up to go to Austin, Texas, in Texas in general during the pandemic? I don't know if I should. Riptide had that limitation. Riptide got sold out in the first hour that they went live, that the last time, mainly because they had a limit on it. Low Tide City didn't really get that kind of numbers, or didn't really reach those kinds of numbers for that. And you kind of looked at it. If you looked at Genesis, you're like, Genesis was supposed to take place in January. And it didn't. They flat out postponed it for 3 months and gave you a refund for the event, but didn't give you a refund, or could only do like 50% refund for the hotel reservation. And they had nothing to do, if you were flying in to Genesis, they had nothing to do with the airline. So that's between you and your airline god if you got some sort of reimbursement for that. So people were kind of looking at Genesis falling apart and be like, do I really want to spend money today going to Low Tide City when I don't even know what the state of the world is going to be like in April? Now, the state of the world, as I look out the window, seems fine, I guess. I mean, that could change. We could get a new variant any day now, but it seems like things are fine. My unprofessional health opinion as labeling the state of the world as fine. So I think, so like, it's fine now, but again, you got to think in context of when everything was announced. When this was announced in January, you had to be really hesitant before you signed up for Low Tide City. And now And it sucks because like the early bird rates were, it's like you were rewarded for taking a massive risk of signing up for an event in January. And now that if you're being cautious and you wait until the world calms down and you know it's going to be safe to go, oh, sorry, the price already went up a couple of times. You're not getting that early bird rate anymore. You're not getting the discounted rate for taking a risk at this one. Since you were being safe and irresponsible, you get to pay more for this event. Congratulations. So yeah, that's a little bit frustrating. But hey, Low Tide City next year could be even bigger. Hopefully it is. But it just feel like it's already been overshadowed by the events that got announced this past weekend. Kind of unfortunate. I'm still excited about Low Tide City, but yeah, that's not the event that's on everyone's mind right now, is it? Two things about Riptide, and I guess if I can find a way to weasel in Genesis, or why do I keep calling it Genesis? Weasel in Shine in here, that you need to be aware of. First off, the organization that is hosting Riptide this time around just so happens to be good old Inkling Performance Labs. In full disclosure, yes, I am a head TO for IPL. An organization leader to some extent, I guess. I didn't even know about this, though. I did not even know that we were going to be hosting Riptide. I didn't know until like 3 days before it got announced. Like, this was all very quick. Maybe Papa John's did speed up some things. I don't know. We'll probably have to find a way to get Ray's onto the Popcast at some point and ask some questions about Low Tide City, Riptide, and maybe Shine. Maybe Ray's knows some Shine stuff too, and we could just talk about lands in general. But I had no idea. I had no idea that IPL was running Riptide until like 3, maybe 4 days before it was announced that we are. So this all was moving very quickly. But hey, IPL is running their first major Splatoon event at a LAN, replacing in-game TV. That's something right there, ain't it? Now, with in-game TV bowing out respectfully of the competitive Splatoon scene and seemingly falling off the face of the earth as a result of that, it kind of left this void of like, okay, well, who's going to be doing things for Splatoon events? How are we going to be able to run events without in-game TV? What are we going to do? Well, first off, we got a new Splat LAN group. That question was kind of answered for us in January. This conglomerate of K-Bot, Rizza, Siren, Kraken, and Raze, the latter two, being head TOs / organizational leaders for IPL. Hey, maybe they're learning something there. That little conglomerate group is going to be running Low Tide City. And you were thinking, okay, this is going to be the Band-Aid, the transition. This is going to be the Mitchell Trubisky who quarterbacks your team until you draft somebody who can actually play quarterback and you can find someone who can actually do things. That's how I saw this group here. And I didn't think it was just going to last one event. I did not think IPL was going to be taking over Riptide this year. I mean, everything IPL has been saying publicly, vocally, and me indirectly on the podcast here has been IPL is not interested in doing land. Yeah, we're interested in doing lands, but we recognize we are miles away from it. Well, now we find out we're 5 months away from it. Less than 5 months now. So what happens with that kind of conglomerate group that's running Low Tide City? Is that the only thing they're going to do? I don't think so. Now it was always, the writing was always on the wall that it was going to be concerning because the headline person of this group is K-Bot. And if you recall, a couple of months ago, K-Bot released a twitlonger basically giving the Splatoon scene a 2 weeks notice. Hey, I'm leaving the scene. Real life calls. I'm going off to doing bigger and better things, I'm going to slowly transition out of competitive Splatoon, which is like, okay, yay, you've done so much for the competitive scene, K-Bot. We appreciate you. But damn, that's a big shoes that we got to find a way to fill. What are we going to do here? This is the only guy who knows how to run lands. This was the only reason Riptide was awesome was because of the people who you saw in person. Not just K-Bot, but obviously Nitro behind the scenes as well. But this is the main reason people trusted Riptide last year, despite all of the nonsense that led up to the beginning of it. So okay, so we lose that guy. Does anyone does anyone in the scene know what the hell they're doing with lands? Because we don't. So going through here, you get Rizza, Siren, Kraken, and Raze of Low Tide City. You get them legit experience, so that they can kind of take over. That makes sense, right? So now that kind of transitions into IPL eventually taking over Riptide. And then Shine's announcement last week, or last night, I immediately went to the IPL, our little staff channel, and I was like, who's running Shine for Splatoon? It's not us. I know it's not us. So who's doing it? I believe it is the other half of this kind of conglomerate here, Rizza and Siren. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know there is a person in chat who could answer that correctly. But that makes sense as well. So all these people involved in Low Tide City are getting direct experience and are going to go off and help run other events. Yes, that's great. So now it's not just one person who we're all like hoping controls everything. Now it's a group of people, IPL doing some, and the Rizza Siren Incorporated doing others. That's a good thing. That's some really good thing. Our future is looking pretty good here. Now, a lot of that information was just given to us in the past couple of days. But there's still something to be excited about, for sure. Now, with IPL taking over Riptide, the most important thing that IPL can do right here is set the standard for what events are going to be going forward. We all know what happened with the predecessor, In-Game TV. If not, go back and look at some Popcast episodes. I called out some people by name. I told said some pretty not so positive things about some people with how that went down, and I wasn't the only one. There were several people speaking out about the atrocities that led up to the Riptide taking place with In-Game TV. So here's the question. Because of that, people lost some respect for Splat Safety. They did. They did. There are a lot of people just kind of realized, oh, wait a minute, Splat Safety doesn't really hold any power. It's more like guidelines. Hey, maybe you should not let this person play in your events for the next couple of months or maybe a year or maybe forever. We can't force you to do that, but we kind of heavily hint that you do. And if you don't, we can't really do anything. We can't sanction you or anything like that. And people are like, well, what's the point of Splat Safety if it doesn't really hold any power? Well, now you got an organization in IPL in place that loves Splat Safety and follows them to the T and understands how important Splat Safety is to the scene as a whole. That's not to say In-Game TV didn't, but well, we all know how that went out. Hi, Carrot. So having an organization in place that is going to try to reestablish credibility in the land scene, I think is something a lot of people appreciate and are getting excited about when they see that IPL has taken over this Riptide event. And so it's important. It's important that this becomes a statement tournament for IPL. In that we kind of establish the standard going forward so that people realize, okay, this is a safe event. There's nothing crazy that can happen here. People that are jerks and other legal terms I can't say aren't going to be allowed at these events so that everyone is safe and comfy and we can just focus on enjoying this stupid little squid game that we got here. This is a very important event for IPL. And I said when Super Jump was coming out, that Super Jump was IPL's way of staking their claim as being the industry leader in all things competitive Splatoon going forward. This one even more so. Riptide is IPL's biggest opportunity yet to show the whole scene who we are and what we're about. So a lot of pressure there, but I'm sure the scientists at the labs will find a way to live up to those expectations. Now, with Riptide, with Shine going on, if you are signing up for either one of these events for Splatoon, here is the problem, the elephant in the room. You have no idea what game you are signing up to play. You don't. You have absolutely no idea what game is going to be played at either one of these events. And for some people, that is a determining factor. Some of you, quote unquote, are so bored and dead with the game, which we'll talk about a little bit in the Squidboard section coming up, that you would only play in this event if it was Splatoon 3. Well, you have no clue what if it is even going to be Splatoon 3 that's even playing at this. That's probably more so of a concern for Shine than it is for Riptide, considering Shine is just a couple of weeks ahead of time. But if you're signed up right now, you are signed up to play Splatoon 2. You realize that, right? Like if you sign up for Riptide, you are signing up to play Splatoon 2. And you're not going to know the answer for that for who knows how long. If this event, and this is what's so critical, if Riptide is a Splatoon 3 event, wow, think about that for a minute. That would be so huge. This would be the first Splatoon LAN, potentially, I see you Shine. Again, I wrote this before I knew Shine was announced, that would have Splatoon 3. This would be the first time everybody's eyeballs get to see Splatoon 3 in action with no latency and seemingly no jank that are going to come from connection issues. That would be huge for the competitive scene as a whole. That would be massive. If it's Splatoon 2, okay, it's cool. There's still going to be people at Riptide, but it's going to be a shell. If it's still Splatoon 2 at Riptide, it's just going to be a shell of what it actually could be. Now, what's so frustrating about this is that we don't even have a date yet, right? Summer of 2022. What the hell does that mean? I don't know, and you don't know either. Does it mean actual legit summer? In which case, like the first date this game could be released is June 21st, and the latest would be September 22nd? That's what summer actually is. So that's why I always cringe when people say, "Oh, it's going to be released in June." It's like, you didn't realize June 21st is like the first day of summer, right? Or it could be the first fiscal day of summer, which summer in terms of like the business world is like all of June through all of August. So who knows? Could it be delayed past that? It could very well could be. We're in theory 2 months away from the window where this game could be released, and we don't know anything about this game other than you can throw eggs to each other now, which is a cool feature. But without a date, there is so much hinging, so much that's on the line right now that we have absolutely no control over. Genesis took place last weekend, right? Genesis did not host Splatoon this year, but before the pandemic, it did. It hosted it a couple of times. I was at Genesis 7. I played Splatoon there. It was awesome, but Genesis did not have Splatoon in their lineup going forward. Why is that? Well, I kind of mentioned this several months ago. It's not the only reason, but it's been rumored to me that one of the key reasons is that the people running these events, some of them feel like Splatoon is not something that's sustainable. It's not something worth having at your event. There's no point in running it because you're not going to get the same kind of numbers that something like Rivals of Aether or others, or Mario Kart or whatever is going to get. So because of that, Splatoon got axed from Genesis. And we want these events to come back, right? That's why I'm excited about Shine. Is it weird that Shine is going on 2 months or 2 weeks right before Riptide, yeah, that kind of sucks for Shine a little bit, but you want Shine to be really successful. You want Shine to be hugely, massively successful, as well as Riptide, because we want to show all these Smash TOs, hey, we're little brother, but we can hold our own a little bit. We're a good chunk. There's a good chunk of people that will come out to different events if you host it. If you build it, they will come. And that's why it sucks that Low Tide City isn't going to be as big as what it could potentially be. And we want Shine and Riptide to be massive. And a lot of what happens with that, what goes with the scene going forward, is how Smash TOs see Splatoon's success at these other events. And the success of these other events is almost directly 100% tied to what the frickin' game is going to be that they're going to play. If it's Splatoon 3, people are going to get whatever mode of transportation. They'll come over on the new Titanic to make sure they could play at a LAN at Shine. Are you kidding me? If it's Splatoon 2, do I really want to get missiled 35 times without having to worry about latency? Like, that sucks. And when are we going to get the answer to this? We don't know. It's out of everybody's control. We have no idea when this game is going to be coming out or when we're even going to get information. And it drives me crazy whenever I see people tweet out, I think we're going to get a direct this month, and then that means we're going to get a test fire this month, and we're going to get the game this month. Off of what? What? Why? Okay, wishful thinking. I get being wishful thinking, but you have no information. You don't. We didn't even know. Remember Paper Mario came out? We didn't even know they were making a Paper Mario game. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, not only are we making a Paper Mario game, it's done. You can get it next month from now. We're like, what? Is Splatoon going to get that same thing? We have no idea. They could come out and say, hey, this is getting the Zelda treatment. The only thing we figured out was how to throw eggs to each other, and it's not enough. We're going to push this game back until 2023 or fall or winter or something like that. Oh, so much of the success of this, because like this scene could really blow up if it is Splatoon 3. But so much of that is out of our control. It's out of everybody's control. Will Splatoon be at other events? Now that we know Shine is on the table, or is like SmashCon going to be on the table? Is Big House going to be on the table? Like if these events really pop off, are we going to go back to Genesis? Everybody's like, when are we going to get standalone Splatoon events? You're not anytime soon. Beacon was the last one that tried to do it, and Beacon was successful in the past. But if you remember, before Beacon got canceled in 2022, they were having some issues themselves. It was going to be a standalone event in New York. That I registered for. It was getting ready to travel to. But they lost the venue they originally had like a month or two out. And then they were like, we got this much smaller venue, and we're going to ask you guys, if you're not actually playing at the event, to not physically be there. There's a McDonald's close by you guys can hang out at. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is not it. So running an actual legit Splatoon event is going to be difficult to do. We need Smash Brothers. We need to convince them that we are the legit thing. And that's going to be hard to do with the state of the game is right now. We need Splatoon 3. Hopefully, though, Low Tide City will be the last time. Here's my hope, is that Low Tide City is the last time we see Splatoon 2. At a LAN, at least. And we can give it the proper send-off it deserves. Of maybe somebody can take a game off of that FT Win team that's going to be going there, and we can enjoy this. We can just enjoy Splatoon and just say bye off into the night, and we can start turning the page. And then Shine or Riptide will be the first Splat 3 event, and we can just celebrate the future that we got here. And then Low Ink's got 300 teams signing up for it, and Squidboard has a sponsorship with Domino's, and everything's just going great. It's the magical world that we live in right now. But for now, let's just enjoy the events that we got. I'll be looking up flights to Boston, Worcester, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I can actually go. That's what sucks about Shine being so close to Riptide. It's like I could financially go to all of these lands and wouldn't mind going there just to it's like a spectator, do what I'm trying to do at Low Tide City, just volunteer and commentate and just enjoy the event and hang out with people. But like asking off work for like, hey, can I get this day off? And then 2 weeks later, hey, can I get this day off again? That's difficult. But I like that there's options. I'm sure there's people who couldn't go to Riptide that are like, hey, I'm going to go to Shine. But that's the other issue with like Splatoon in general. As I'm starting to ramble here, you're starting to see when I'm going off script. With Smash events, if you host like a Smash local and you have 16 people show up, that's a 16-team bracket that you can make. That's a double elim bracket that with 16 teams, that can last a while. That's a quality tournament. If you're running a Splatoon thing and only 16 people show up, that's 4 teams. that's just 4 teams. And you play a group stage and you find out one team is just miles better than the other, and there's no real parity between them, and you're just like, oh, cool, great. A little 4-team, 3-team event. That's awesome. And you can hype it up and you can put it on stream and you can have a crowd get excited when one team comes off of their mains to make it more competitive and all this stuff. At the end of the day, it's still not what a 16-person Smash event would be. That's the difficulty Splatoon faces. You need massive numbers for these events. So hopefully Shine and Riptide can get those massive numbers. The ball's in your court, Nintendo. Look, this whole competitive Splatoon scene is us. It's all us, baby. You do your events, and all of them have some horrible crap that goes along with it, and they all suck in their own way, but then they all get great views. We appreciate that. But the soul of competitive Splatoon is jackasses like me and the idiots in chat. That's the soul of competitive Splatoon. Just give us the game. We'll do the rest. Just give us the game, and we'll do the rest. Please. And there you go. 111 episodes of the Popcast. Who knew episode 111 would when I would be talking about an IPL LAN? Sign of the times. All right. Let's move along. I spent a lot of time on that. That's good. We're going to hit our hourly quota in no time. If you're an idiot in chat, don't worry. Listening to me is helping you. I'd rather be an idiot in chat who is evolving, becoming more woke, than somebody who doesn't listen to the Popcast, who just wanders through this world endlessly like a lost little sheepy. Don't be a lost sheepy. Listen to the Popcast. And more importantly, listen to the weekly recap. SOS number 65 took place on Wednesday, won by Panko Fan Club. I didn't figure out what Panko was or why it needed a fan club. I think it was some sort of cat or something. But they won because they were able to stay in the lobby longer than the boys, who finished in second place in this event. Tukey finished in third place. Congratulations to all those teams finishing in the top 3 of SOS number 65. It's too bad they're all pickup team names. I forget. I think Rhythm was on the Panko fan club, and the boys was people. I think it was Boopy and Pulp and Banana Man, but they all changed their names to something else, so I just forget what it was. But it doesn't matter. Hey, top 3 teams, cool. Great. Glad you guys won. Congratulations to Tukey. The real credit here goes to the team making the most noise, which finished in 4th place in the entire event. Give me Legato, who finished in 4th place, beating, I forget who they beat in Top Cut, but that was on stream, and they were able to kind of slip around there on the Rainmaker Manta Maria game and put this one away, finishing in 4th place. Legato is Logano from Low Inc. But, hey, When we kick a team out of low ink, they usually do pretty well when they actually go forth and play the game instead of just being like, oh, we can't play in low ink anymore. I guess it's over. Nope. There's a whole life after death. Enjoy it. Hammerhead was won by Squid Legends. Mako Bracket was swept by the best floor sweepers in the business, Crimson Quake. And Lantern Bracket was won by CQ Cumbers. The letter C, the letter Q, and Cumbers. There we go. I thought that was Crimson Quake, the CQ Crimson Quake to some extent, but no, it's a completely different team. CQ Cumbers. USC, the Ultimate Splat Championship, took place on the 16th, right? Is that a Saturday? I forget when this took place. I looked at it just before we went live to write this down. And it's probably something I probably should have been talking about a lot beforehand. However, I just didn't for whatever reason. But now that I looked at this one event in particular, I was like, oh, there's a lot of good stuff to talk about here. First off, Skilled Cap Tournaments, it's a tournament for Div 5 through Div 9. What is Div 5 through Div 9 today? I have no idea. I am a head TO for Low Ink that has a Div restriction on a tournament. I have no clue what Div 5 is or Div 9 is. I have no idea. Those things came out on 11/13/2021. Over 6 months ago. And that was just a snapshot of who you were as a player on 11/13/2021. I have no idea what a Div 5 is right now. No clue. Absolutely no clue. We have to do a lot of guesswork and a lot of looking into people's results to just say, yeah, I think they're a low ink team. All right, yeah, I think they fall in line. So whoever the TOs for USC are, I'm sure they do that same kind of thing instead of just looking, yep, these guys are Div 9. That means they're good. The teams that played in this one. So there's like a gold bracket and silver bracket. Gold bracket was won by Squid Killers. Second place, Access Denied. Third place, King Makers. Fourth place, not your, but my Lag Paradise. Hey, there's some alpha bracket teams signing up for this. Fifth place team, the other team that made top cut, was Up the Ante. Hey, whoa, wait. Pop Gun, whenever you talk about the weekly recap, you're usually just making up team names off the top of your head that seem like actual legit team names, but they're not. They're pickups. All the team names I just mentioned in this USC tournament, they're all actual teams that you know and love. Hey, that's weird. Hey, who won silver bracket? The Jelly Squids? Second place, Intimidation Factor. Third place, Splat-A-Lot A. And fourth place went to Splat-A-Lot B. Hey, 13 teams signed up for this one, and they're all legit teams. No pickup teams signed up for this tournament. They're all real. Whoa, that's why I'm excited about USC. If they keep getting the same kind of teams like this that are not pickups, that are all name brand teams that you know and love, I'll support this event 100%. I am all for actual legit events. Another team that I want to point out here, we've seen Splat-A-Lot A, B, C, D, E, F, and now making, I believe, their debut appearance in this tournament. Welcome the 7th Splat-A-Lot team, Splat-A-Lot G. I keep joking that the next one's going to pop up. What comes after G? H? When are we going to see Splat-A-Lot H? The ball's in your court, Splat-A-Lot. We demand a Splat-A-Lot H. Friday Night Frenzy season concluded on Friday here. Sweeps across the board. Prism said, Cake, get out of here, 3-0. Macaharia, 3-0 over Marine Melody. The Cat Purglers, 3-0 over Crap Rave. And the Squid Killers dismissing Rolling Squids, 3-0 as well. The season coming to an end. The top four teams, Macaharia, Marine Melody, Squid Killers, and Prism. Marine Melody, congratulations on making bracket here. I believe I said Cake was the team I was feeling like was going to find a way to get that fourth spot, and Marine Melody said, nah, bro, we'll take that from you. So congratulations, Marine Melody. Grand finals of that event, or I guess the playoffs of that event, is going to be this upcoming Friday. Stream starts at 9 o'clock on the Splat, like competitive Splat channel. I forget what channel Falco has specifically for that one, but just follow the Twitter account and you'll ultimately find it right there. Genesis 8 came to a conclusion yesterday. MK Leo winning the Ultimate Tournament in undramatic fashion and seemed just absolutely tickled to death to be winning a tournament again. Zane dismissed J Mook to dominate the Melee side of the bracket. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by the Peach versus Jigglypuff matchup in Melee. That was, the people were hyping up Lod versus Hungrybox all weekend long, and me being not a part of the competitive Melee scene was like, why? Like, none of the commentators were explaining why. And then I saw them play, and I was like, oh, I know why. This Peach versus Jigglypuff matchup is so boring that it's kind of exciting. Much like the weekly recap. So that's why it's the perfect sponsor for today's episode of the weekly recap. Oh, one of them hit each other. What? Oh, the dude pulled up a turnip that had like crosses on its eyes. That's awesome. That's exciting. What? Okay. I've always thought, why do they have a timer for that Melee tournament? Like, what's the point of the timer? It never goes down past like 4 minutes. boy, was I wrong. Now I'm sitting there saying, why they should make the timer shorter. You know, I played Melee when it came out. I played Smash 64 when it came out. And it's not until the past couple of years that I realized I've been playing Melee wrong my entire life. So, I don't know about that one, Magic. I can just envision being 2-0'd. I don't have to actually experience it. 0-2'd or whatever. Squid Boards took place on Saturday. Quick little segment here talking about Squid Boards. Some teams did some notable things. We'll talk about that in a second. But there's this narrative in competitive Splatoon as we're on the final days counting down, even though we don't have a number to count down to, we're still counting down the days to where Splatoon 2 is dead and gone. But there's this narrative that everyone is just tired of the state of competitive Splatoon and nobody wants to actually play competitive Splatoon at all. That's the narrative, right? They'll only play in gimmick tournaments now. You know, we only want to play in tournaments with a 48% winning goal in Turf War, or brushes only, or you can launch day or shopping spree. Those are the only events people will play in. They won't play in anything else. No, it turns out we just haven't had an opportunity to actually play the game in a competitive setting. Yeah, there's tons of tournaments. There's, SOS every week that got 31 teams signed up, almost hit the cap last weekend. We got Low Ink, which will get tons of teams signed up for it. Many other events, SAC, very successful. There's tons of standard format events going on that will draw out the casual crowd or the scene, and we'll get a lot of views on Twitch for the tournament when it's actually played. Those events I listed all have something unique about them, don't they? Or some sort of limit about them. Low Ink, SAC, skill capped events. SOS, as awesome as it is a North American only event. And is a format with groups into single elimination, to where it's, if you lose once, you're not going to get anything that you actually want, unless you're like a low level team just trying to grind up, in which case SOS is great. But it's not really something geared towards everybody. When was the last time we had an event that took place on a weekend that that was an open invite event and would draw out everybody? Probably be one of the Sunday, what was the name of the 4v4 Sunday events, right? It's been a while since we had one of those, but Squid Boards is like the first time in a long time where it was just an open invite tournament at a time that caters towards EU and North America, and you could just play. Like, we haven't played just normal Splatoon. Like, we haven't had that in such a long time. And I was, whenever when Sindao Q first came out,
Everybody was hopping on. Everybody was playing it. And people were coming back out of retirement to play in Sendout Queue. Like, everything was active. FT Win was actually playing together pretty publicly. You could play against FT Win. It was awesome. And everybody was being a part of it. But what did we do with that? We didn't have any events. Like, there was genuine excitement for competitive Splatoon in the West, and there was nothing for people to play in. Nothing. That's it. Nothing. You could just play and sit out, just scrim through Sendout Queue, and that's it. The only thing you get, here's another gimmick tournament. Because you guys are so bored with this game, here's a gimmick tournament. This is the only thing you guys will actually play. No! Sendout Queue proved that people were actually excited about the game. And we're not going to get the opportunity to see high-level teams play it against each other. That's why we need more things like squid boards. Keep in mind when we talk about squid boards here, there's no prize for it. Right, Magic? There was no prize for this. No cash prize, no art prize, no silly $40 plus I'll draw a stick figure for second place kind of prize. Nothing. You're just playing for essentially fun, right? I mean, some teams are here playing for results, but if you are a top-level team, and I pointed this out when Jackpot played in the last squid board tournament, I was like, why are they playing? And there's nothing for them to gain. They either win the tournament and get the pat on the back they deserve, or they don't win the tournament, and then they just become, hey, people tweeting out, hey, 3-2, we 3-2 Jackpot. Because anytime Jackpot or FT Win or Starburst loses, everyone goes on Twitter and like, hey, we beat these guys. So it's like there's so much for Jackpot to lose by playing in that event, and almost nothing to gain other than just saying they won squid boards, to which everyone's going to say, well, yeah, you should have won squid boards. Of course you should have. So these players are still coming out and playing in this. We had Vengeance. We had Hollow. We had Early in the Morning. Sortie in Phase 2. I forget what div those guys were back in November. But still, these are kind of teams you don't typically see sign up for a tournament that doesn't really have any kind of meeting or prize to it. So getting these higher-ish level players coming out here, and if anyone's like, sorry, NT2 Phase 2 is not a high-level team, how dare you say that? Fine, I'm just saying I haven't seen those guys sign up in an event traditionally in a while. But Hollow had some high-level players. Vengeance obviously did as well. Coming out and playing an event, they're not even playing for voting. Like, traditionally, I've said if you are a mid-level or low-level team or something like that, you play in a tournament to try to justify getting into +3 or +2 or something. You're playing for results. Well, if you're at the top, you don't need results. And as we've seen with +1, once you get in, you just kind of stay in for the most point, because the vast majority of +1, or at least half of +1, doesn't even vote. So do you really care? Are you really playing for results at that point? No, these guys are clearly just playing for fun, and that's awesome to see. If you build it, they will come. Yeah, only 26 teams played in this one, but it's not the number of teams that sign up. It's the quality of teams that sign up. And when you get quality players playing in high quality matches that are put up on stream, that's awesome to see. People love seeing that stuff. You don't have to resort to a gimmick tournament. Why is everyone only playing in gimmick tournaments? Because gimmick tournaments are the only ones with prize pools. Somebody, I dare you, make a standard Splatoon 2 event with no gimmicks or anything like that, with actual map pools that aren't garbage, and have a prize pool on it. See how many people sign up for it. I'd be curious. And then compare it to how many people sign up for a gimmick tournament. I'll be curious. I would assume you are going to get a lot more people that sign up for it. I'm not talking to anybody in particular. I'm just saying in general, people that are saying more people will sign up for gimmick tournaments. I think they kind of follow the money. But my point being, if people are signing up for squid boards where there is no money, but they won't sign up for a gimmick tournament that does have money, just imagine what kind of response you would get from a normal Splatoon event that had a cash prize. Just imagine. You're probably looking at IPL. Why don't you just do it? Hey, I'm the low ink guy. Okay? Don't come at me. I got my own event I got to run. Let's talk about some teams that had some notable results here. First off, I want to talk about Tempest. the team that finished in third place that was so close. It looked like they were about to just stomp their way into grand finals because I commentated their winners finals match against Vengeance, which went into a game 5. But Tempest has this stigma about them, right? Because they played an SAC when they probably maybe should not have, but because they did and they dominated SAC, congratulations, you now got this stigma of people will have of you, well, that's just an SAC team. Well, yeah, but you don't realize how good SAC was this season as in the past. But hey, they won SAC, so we see them, they are stamped forever as a mid-level team until they go out and make some noise in other situations to where they can prove it here, that they're not just a mid-level team. And they proved it. I said this on stream when I was commentating. These guys proved you can't really think of them as just an SAC team anymore. These guys are legit. Finishing in third place in this event. Again, taking Vengeance to a game 5. Yeah, those guys just looked really good, and they helped kind of erase the narrative that they have about themselves. Tempest, I want to see more of Tempest going forward. Want to see a lot more of Tempest going forward. Vengeance, the team that finished in second place after Hollow was able to force a bracket reset into game 5 and then just end the tournament there. I don't know. Is this a pickup or an actual team? I don't know. Vengeance sounds like an actual team name. That doesn't sound like a pickup, does it? Vengeance sounds legit. So I'm kind of hoping it's legit because that team, like I pointed out when I was commentating them, they look like they have actual synergy with each other. It looks like their comps, they know how to make their comp, as unorthodox as it is, they know how to make it work with each other. So I would like to see more of Vengeance. Hopefully it's not just a one-off thing for this event. Hollow seems to be a legit thing as well. Hollow's been playing, the team that won this event, now this is Hollow +1. This is their third tournament in the past 2 weeks. They played in 3 tournaments in the past 2 weeks. Second place in the Think Before You Ink tournament. Second place in the King of the Castle area or World Cup qualifier. And now getting first place in Squidboards. So we've been seeing a lot of Hollow recently playing against some top level talent and finishing second, and first. Now, one of them being a gimmick tournament. Who cares? A lot of good things going on here from Hollow, and you would like to see them kind of, okay, these guys were hanging with Alliance Rogue. They were taking games off Alliance Rogue. Again, can we get an environment where we could have Hollow, Alliance Rogue, and FT Win, and Jackpot, and Starburst all play against each other? We want to see that. The Thieves. These guys are back. The Thieves are quickly becoming one of those teams where if you were around a year or 2 ago, you know who these guys are and they scare the crap out of you. But if you haven't been a part of the scene or you forgot who they were, you're probably just like, oh, the Thieves, who the heck are these guys? I don't really care. So it's good to see them come back. I believe they made the second bracket. But I would like to see more of the Thieves. Hopefully this wasn't just like a reunion tour, and this might be just them coming out of hiatus, shaking off some dust so they can head into Splatoon 3. Wipeout Punks. Hey, congratulations. You beat Micklin Heroes 2-0. That's all I can say. Congratulations, Wipeout Punks. That's kind of what we expect from them at this point, right? They beat somebody interesting. They've been doing a lot of interesting stuff. Can they string it all together, though, and beat a lot of interesting people in one event? They're capable of doing it, but they're definitely, that's their notable upset of the week, because it seems like they get one every week that they play. Camp Triggerfish Supremacy. Stop it. The worst team name in all of competitive Splatoon. Stop it. Hey, I still like the fact that this is an actual team. I thought this was just a team built for Ludi, but we've seen Camp Triggerfish Supremacy play in a lot of events going forward this time around, playing Persistence again like they did in Ludi and beat them again like they did in Ludi, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm just pointing out, I like to see Camp Triggerfish continue to play projects or whatever coming out from the Ludi event that are still stuck together and still grinding some events. Assault won the third bracket, holding off Persistence. Speaking of Persistence, they did do pretty well in this event as well, going all the way. I think they tweeted out something that Stormy didn't wake up in time or something like that, or slept through the first round or whatever. How? It's 1 p.m. Eastern time or Eastern Daylight Time. How do you? Persistence, second place in this event. Good to see. But Azult, another one of these older-ish teams. I believe Azult is a Latin American team. Don't quote me on that. But this is something else I've kind of pointed out. I guess like a month ago when somebody was asking what's the best region for mid-level. The correct answer is Latin America because there is no fat. There are a few teams in mid-level from Latin America, but they're all good. Azult here winning the third place bracket. The final bracket, I have no idea who the team Clip Twitter is. I looked at their roster and I had no clue as well. But they beat Legato 3-2 in grand finals, so got to be pretty good because Legato is pretty good, as they say. So there you go, squid boards. Again, like squid boards a lot. We don't have as oversaturated as the market is. We don't really have any weekend tournaments that cater to the entire time zones of the West. And when we do, we get a lot of quality teams to sign up for it, even when there is no prize. I'm telling you guys, pay attention. There's some things we need in the scene and some things we complain about that aren't true, that just aren't true. If you actually pay attention, Saturday events, open invite, standard Splatoon, get a lot of views on Twitch and get a lot of participation from quality teams. Let's wrap up this episode because this was, hey, we got through it. I had to ad-lib a good stuff during the land section, but we got through it. If you'd like to be a part of the podcast in any way, not gonna have time to do that for a while. But if you want to send me information about your team, maybe you signed up for Low Ink and you want to send me information about your team that you want me to talk about on the preview episode that's coming out this Friday, send me. Feel free to reach out to me at my socials below. Twitter, Mr._Popgun, Discord, Popgun, #5882, YouTube at 25Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun, TikTok at Mr._Popgun. And let's go raid somebody who is streaming Splatoon. Undershirt Man, Fish. We've done those guys a few times. Me, I can't raid myself. Let's go to, I don't know who Frozen Nova is. Let's go raid that person. Actually, no. Wait. Let's go here. Hey, stay safe. Stay vaccinated. Don't do anything stupid. Keep wearing a mask. And I'll see some of you on Friday. Sign up for Low Ink.